Okay, this video is a follow-up to what it is that I was talking about this morning, but I think I need to recap a little bit on what it is that I was asking this morning. Okay, so if it is that you have a situation wherein you have a situation on one hand, you have a decision to make with regards to a situation on one hand, wherein it involves just positions or being just and restoring to others. And then you have, which is, I classify that situation as the 13-year-old thing. And on the other hand, you have purpose, which you have forgiveness and purpose practically, actually, which I call the 12-year-old thing or the 21 family oriented thing. What decision do you think you should make if it is that you had to choose between just and restoration situation, or a just position and restoration situation, or forgiveness and purpose situation? Okay, so let me say something with regards to me, because apparently, the way in which it is that I've functioned over the past few years, giving of myself consistently, in so many different ways to other people, I think that it has not been clear enough to people that I do that because I love people and I care about their purpose. Now, yeah, so let me just give you some clarity. I'm a person who loves people and care very much about purpose and care very much about the earth realm and several things being done in a particular way. When it is that I ask questions sometimes, it's not a situation where it is that I don't. Some questions that I will ask sometimes it's not because I don't have the answer. It's a situation where sometimes I'm trying to help other people to think, or it's a situation where sometimes I don't have the answer and the information is in the other person. So, yeah, as per the purpose situation that I just asked, it's not a situation where I don't know the answer. It's a situation where I'm trying to help people to think. I'm trying to help persons in this season to become very much acquainted with their purpose. I'm trying to help people to learn how to make certain decisions. The thing is that there are lots of people who tend to make certain decisions based on how they feel or based on what is going on. And they sometimes put aside purpose and certain other things that are important. So I say that to say that there are certain things that I have learned with regards to my relationship with God, and I'm going to share a little with you. Now, as per my relationship with God, I found that there are certain things that He has, certain things that He has predestined to be a particular way, and there are certain things that can change according to choice. That's how it seems to work. It's like He has, for example, say He has geographically, He has this country to be beside the other country and certain relations to happen between the countries, like, oh, they were predestined to be like that. The country was predestined to be called a particular thing. But people living in the country had to make the choice whether they wanted to love Him or not love Him. So it's a situation wherein, the fact of the matter is He has a perfect will, as the Bible shows, and He has a permissive will. Now, permissive will allows choice. The perfect will does not. The perfect will does not change for anybody. The perfect will is perfect. It stays the same. It does not change for nobody. As a matter of fact, it's more a situation wherein if it is that people don't submit to the perfect will, it actually would more break you. so is like you have mercy that is available at all times, you have grace that is available, and so on. But you know, we also have to learn to submit and obey God. So when he says certain things, or he says do certain things, and we don't do it, we don't get his kind of results. And if he says do certain things, if he says do certain things or don't do certain things, and we choose to do the opposite of what he says, you know, you just don't get the results that he's giving. So it's in your interest, it's in our interest to just obey him and do what he says. Anyway, it's the food for thought for today. So you know, as it relates to, you know, the question I asked in terms of, you know, situation versus purpose, you know, situational things sometimes are, you know, can be challenging, especially when there's suffering involved. However, it's a situation wherein, you know, in the Bible, let me just say this before I even go. You know, in the Bible, it really has been a situation wherein sometimes God has a particular purpose for certain things, but based on choices that are made. It's like, let me say this. The thing is that God has certain desires sometimes, but not all his desires are you know, fulfilled. You know, because of the fact that he's a person that is not going to come into the earth realm and do certain things without a man. So if it is that people don't yield to him or work with him, certain things in the earth realm will not be done. But there's some things that he'll do in the earth realm without a man. So, but most of the things that are to be done in the earth realm normally once it has to do with choice, or once it has to do with man's authority, he's not going to usurp the authority that he gives to man, or he's not going to, you know, not even usurp, but disregard the authority that he gave to man. So it's a situation wherein we have to make certain decisions, like we have to invite him to move in certain respects, or, you know, say, okay, God, we need you to do this, do that, through prayer or through, you know, talking to him. So you know, when it comes to certain things with regards to the earth realm, you know, man tends to have to, you know, make certain decisions. Not that he makes decisions outside of God. It's most times a situation wherein God gives you information and says, you know, okay, this needs to be done or that needs to be done. And he'll give you some kind of indication as to how certain things are to be done, whether he speaks through dreams, visions, or he speaks directly to your spirit, or through your conscience, or, you know, through people, or through nature, the universe, you know, whatever he chooses to use. At the end of the day, he has some kind of means to speak to us. So the onus is on us. When it is that he speaks to us, the onus is on us to listen and do, you know, certain things that he says, because he knows everything, you know. So it's in our interest most times to just trust what he says and do what he says. But you know, if it is that outside of what he says, you know, man chooses to make certain other choices, then many times you're just going to end up with a situation wherein man is going to really just have to deal with you know, his choice. And many times that's what ends up happening in a lot of situations with a lot of us, you know. When it is that we go doing our own thing and so on, we end up dealing with the effects of our own thing. Anyway, so I say all that to say, you know, when dealing with issues, especially when it relates to our local and global community, you know, certain things are sensitive matters. There are certain things that I have desired concerning our local and global community. You know, one of the things that I've held on to for many years is the whole Abrahamic promise, mainly because of the one new man dream that God has of one new humanity. And it's one of the things that is very dear to my heart, and it's one of the things that I focus many times on from various different premises. But you know, but outside of what it is that you know, I desire, I understand that every person in the earth realm has their own particular purpose. And so it's not a situation wherein I'm going to sometimes hold many people at a disadvantage in order to accomplish my purpose. You know, I've never held anybody at a disadvantage. As a matter of fact, I'm more somebody who empowers and equips other people. I guide and direct people because it's a part of my purpose. And it's also a thing where it is that I direct people in certain areas because of the fact that I want to see them in their purpose. I want to see them, moving in particular areas so that the earth realm can benefit from people being in their purpose. Not just the earth realm, but the development of man is very important. So, at the end of the day, everybody has their choices. So, each person, I can desire certain things for people all I want, but at the end of the day, people really have to make certain decisions. They're going to end up just making certain decisions for themselves. So, I release people in this season. I release people to their decisions, especially to the fact that, over the past several years, despite the fact that many times I've been directing people in the right kind of ways, much of the time I've many times had a situation where sometimes people were trying to place their choices upon me. Like when some were not choosing to make certain decisions, there were some that were making the wrong decisions, and I have to take that on as if it was I'm deciding for people. Do I tell people what to do? No, it's a situation wherein it's either they're listening to me or they're not. And if it is that they choose to not listen and do certain things, I cannot be held accountable for their decision or for their choice. What it is that I can do is try to help them to make a better choice the next time. So, anyway, at the end of the day, everybody really has to just decide what is important to them. And, I really hope that, really when it is that a lot of people think in terms of choices and so on, that they look at more doing what God wants them to do outside than just, doing what they feel. A lot of people many times are driven by their feelings, and they feel the effects of feelings. Feelings were given to us as an important tool. Feelings are there to serve us. They provide us with information. They tell us things that are hurting us. They tell us things that give us pleasure. They tell us things that that we are called to. Certain things sometimes, feelings provide certain kind of information. Feelings tell us things to avoid as well. So it's a situation where once it is that our feelings are submitted to God, where it is that, our feelings are being placed under some kind of guidance, system, when it is that, because a lot of people, when it is that people have distorted thinking, sometimes your feelings, flow along the lines of your thinking. They're very connected. And, sometimes how you think can start to affect how you feel. I mean, not sometimes, actually, most times, how you think many times affect how you feel. And so therefore, that's part of the reason, one of the reasons why it is that Abba wants to, renew our minds. When it is that you start developing your relationship with God, one of the things that he's going to very much, focus on is you renewing the way you think so that you can think like him. When you start to think like him, you start to feel like him. Because when he puts his thoughts in your mind, you start to learn how to feel like him. Because he feels too. It's not a situation wherein he's fickle like us. But he feels certain things too. He responds to love. He responds to disobedience, and certain other things. So, he has feelings. He has expressed himself in the Bible more than one occasions where it is that he has said, he's jealous at certain things. He doesn't want people putting more focus on other things than on him. He has expressed himself in terms of anger. He's expressed himself in terms of his desires and so on. So God is a very real and supreme being that wants his children or people that he created to be like him. And if we remain under the distorted system or with the distorted nature that sin provided, courtesy of Adam, you're going to end up having a distorted feeling system and a distorted thinking system and a distorted mindset, distorted feelings, and so this whole system is not going to serve you in the kind of way that it really should. When it is that you start thinking like God and feeling like God, then it's a situation wherein your feelings will really start, providing you with the right kind of information, not distorted information. Because when you're dealing with your sinful nature, it's a situation wherein your feelings flow according to that. And it's very flawed information it gives you. So, I encourage everybody at the end of the day, learn how to listen to God, learn how to flow with him, and learn how to make certain decisions during the season. And you just be blessed. I hope that at the end of the day, each and every person, progress in the way God wants them to. I'm still available to help individuals who want to learn certain things. I don't know it all, but it's a situation wherein I have a gifting that provides me with information from the spirit realm, and most importantly, I have a relationship with God, and God is the one. I know the one who knows it all. So if I don't have certain information, I know where to go. I ask him for the information, and he'll provide it to me. So you just be blessed, and I'll pray that things work in the way they should as it relates to you. So, love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Have a wonderful day. Okay. All right. Bye.